What's going on, guys? Today I am back with another H.A.T format replay review for you guys. If you're interested in sending in your H.A.T format replays, you can go down to the video description and find all the information on how to go about sending those in. Anyways, the match I have for you today, we have V-Star, who is going to be on Firefist Traptrix, versus Kelper, who is going to be on Lightsworn Ruler. So anyways, let's get straight into it. Here, it looks like V-Star is going to start this one out. Opening hands, we see Wolfbark, Brotherhood of the Firefist Bear, Tensu, Maxi, and Skullmeister. And on the other side, we see Mind Control, Solar Recharge, Charge of the Light Brigade, Soul Charge, and Raiden. So very strong opening from Kelper, and definitely not a bad hand, though not a lot of back row or anything. I could definitely see this Maxi and Skullmeister coming in very clutch against the Lightsworn Ruler deck here. But here, V-Star will get to start out, so they are going to draw, getting a copy of Mermail, so that is a very strong draw there. They're going to take a second to think, summon the Mermail, adding a copy of Bottomless. And then, looks like they are just setting the Bottomless and passing it over. Kelper gets a copy of Blaster, goes Charge of the Light Brigade, sending a Wyvern, Card Trooper, and a copy of Wolf. Very strong mills there. And adding a copy of Lila. And then here, it looks like Wyvern and the Beast is going to be activated here, or the Wolf, I should say, and Maxi is going to be chained. So Wolf is summoned, and V-Star gets a copy of Tenki, and then here they're going to banish a JD. Next, they are going to summon Lila, but that is quickly met with the Bottomless, and then they're going to go Battle Phase attack over the Mermail and just pass it over. I wonder, given this hand, if they had really wanted to try to push for game, if there was actually a way to. I guess they had tried to normal the Lila, so yeah, maybe not. Well, because I feel like there's a world in which they could just Minecon, take the Mermail, overlay into Lavalval Chain, send something like, I don't know, another Wyvern, and then use the Wyvern, get another JD, but I guess at that rate they wouldn't have enough Lightsworns in grave, so I guess playing it slow made sense there. Anyways, V-Star is going to get a copy of Lance here, and also they were under Maxi, so that's like not great, yeah. Let's see, here they are going to go Tenki and get a copy of Bear. After that, they're going to activate Tensu, additional summoning the Bear, and then normal summoning the Bear, using the Bear effect to pop the Wolf, attacking in with double Bear. And they'll be able to use the effects here. And let me just double check this. Yeah, it looks like it is a soft once per turn per copy, so they will be able to set double Tenki here, but Tenki is a hard once per turn, so they would only be able to use one. But in main phase 2, they're going to overlay for a copy of Brotherhood of the Firefist Cardinal. Very cool card. It needs 2 level 4 Firefist monsters, and it says you can detach 2 materials from this card, target 2 Firefist or Fire Formation cards in your graveyard, and or face up field, and 2 cards in your opponent's graveyard and or face up field. Shuffle those targets into the deck. And so that's kind of cool because it really usually that's a good way to shut down Lightsworn Rulers, just to make sure they can't get to enough names. As well as if they shuffle back the Wyvern, then that JD they banished is just completely gone here. So here they're going to use the effect, detaching the double Bear. And let's see, they are going to go for Tenki and Bear back into deck and shuffle back the Wyvern and the Wolf. Let me just see something real quick. So, detach 2 materials and then target 2. Okay, yeah, that works. So they technically already had enough targets and stuff. That's why they're able to do it, because it also can get from field and stuff. But anyways, Kelper's then going to draw a Solar Recharge, so they're still in a very good position here. Activating Solar Recharge, sending the Raiden, drawing into Light Ray Diabolos and a Foolish Burial, sending a JD and a Title, going Foolish, sending a Wyvern. Wyvern effect, is that going to get met with the Skullmeister? It is. So shutting them off of that, but then the Soul Charge is going to come down, summoning back the Wyvern, Raiden, and Card Trooper. Getting very low on life, using the Raiden, hitting a Tempest and a Groth. Next, they're going to use Card Trooper, milling a Wolf, a Aaron, and a Revival Golem, which this is kind of just like another Wolf. It'll allow them to either special summon it or add it to hand, which is really cool. They're going to use the special it and then special the wolf. So they're going to be able to put up a pretty big board here, and these back row we know are just tankies. So here they're going to go for Honor Arc. I don't know if there's specifically a reason, since this can only take attack position monsters. Next, they're going to synchro for 7. Oh, they're using it just to blow up the board, but have a monster left on board. So they are going to protect with the 101 by just detaching a material, and then the Wyvern can then activate. And it looks like V-Star's just going to scoop it up there. It is, you know, well, actually, no, life was pretty low, and they had Wolf Bark and stuff. So maybe that felt a little preemptive, potentially. But anyways, moving into game number 2, we see Traptrix Mermail, Duality, Warning, Debunk, and Torrential. And on the other side, we see Forbidden Lance, Redox, MST, Eclipse Wyvern, and Lumina. So pretty solid hands from both players, though Lightsworn Ruler does need a little bit to actually get its ball rolling. So we'll have to see if they draw like a Solar Recharge or something like that. Anyways, V-Star will get a copy of Max C for turn, normal summon Mermail, get the Bottomless, and they have a lot of back row this game. Activating Duality, and taking another copy of Mermail, putting back a Wolfbark, and then Upstart. Obviously, they saw no tankies or anything else, so no reason to get a early Wolfbark there. And passing it over to Kelper, who does get a copy of Card Trooper, so that is a great way to start out, normal summoning it, but that is met with Warning. Back over to V-Star, who gets a copy of Upstart, uses it, gets a copy of Bear. Okay, there we go. So they're going to take a second to think. They're going to summon the Bear, attack in, and be able to set a Tenki, I'd assume here. Yep, going for the Tenki, attacking in with Mermail. And then main phase 2, activating Tenki. There's the Wolfbark. Maybe going for a Dweller here would be good. And they are going to go for the Dweller. And passing it over. Okay. Kelper gets a copy of Aaron. And Dweller's activated right away. It looks like they are just setting the Wyvern and the MST here. And it looks like V-Star draws into another copy of Maxi, summons Wolfbark, uses the effect. Getting back the Bear. Overlaying for a copy of Tiger King, which can then set a copy of Tenki. Adding back, adding a copy of Bear. Going battle phase, attacking into the Wyvern, and that is going to get met with the Debunk. Pushing in, so keeping the material on Dweller is very good, so it means they have the extra Dweller activation for the opponent's turn, since they know they couldn't beat them there. Here, it looks like Kelper's going to get a copy of Raiden, Dweller's going to be activated, they're going to summon the Raiden, but that gets met with Bottomless, so we are going into a game 3. This time, Kelper will get to start this one out. Let's see. Opening hands, we see Forbidden Lance, DD Crow, Deep Dark Trapple, Brotherhood of the Firefist Bear, and Debunk, and on the other side, we see Soul Charge, JD, MST, Soul Charge, and Eclipse Wyvern, so very rough hand here from Kelper, and the hand from V-Star's like, okay. Obviously seeing like extra traps and stuff when going second isn't the greatest, but they do have Crow, and they do have Lance and Bear, so that's pretty solid. And here, it looks like Kelper's going to find a copy of Mind Control, so very unfortunate hand, just setting the Wyvern and MST and passing. Here, V-Star gets a copy of Soul Drain, which is extremely strong. Summoning Bear and attacking, and here the Wyvern is going to activate, banishing the Light Ray Diablos. Someone complained about me pronouncing this wrong. I don't know why this card is so hard for me to remember the name for whatever reason. I think I get it confused with the, Lair of Darkness guy, the Diablosis, and this one's just Diabolos. I just call it Light Ray usually. So yeah, banishing the Light Ray, and then anyways, they're going to be setting 4 actually, and passing it over to Kelper, who gets a copy of Blaster there. So still unfortunate, just passing over. V-Star gets a copy of Breakthrough Skill. Going battle phase, attacking in with Bear, using the effect to then set a Tenki, activating the Tenki, and they're going to hold the MST there, which, you know, it makes sense if they don't care about the pressure being put on them, or if they have the read that, you know, they might have some floodgatey type cards. For example, they could, you know, this deck usually loses really hard to something like Soul Drain, or it can lose really hard to something like a Macro or a D-Fissure or something like that. But anyways, here off the Tenki, they're adding a copy of Gorilla, summoning the copy of Gorilla, and, oh, what were they doing there? Oh, just a misclick. Next, they're going to use the Gorilla, getting rid of the Tenki, to hit the MST. The MST is chained to, funny enough, hitting the Soul Drain. That's kind of ironic. And then setting the Breakthrough Skill and passing it over. Here, Kelper gets a copy of Solar Recharge, but again, they don't have anything. So they just have to pass it over. V-Star gets a copy of Upstart. They just go Battle Phase, attack in with Gorilla, attack in with Bear. Bear can then trigger, getting a Tenki, activating Tenki, adding Wolf Bark. Here they could go for a copy of Cardinal, and interesting, I guess. I don't even know if that feels right. Like, it just seems a little preemptive to be using this when they don't really have much in graveyard, and usually the Fire Fist decks only play one of this if they are going to play it. So I feel like maybe even going for something else, especially when you have so much other back row. Now, maybe they think that Kelper's just waiting out because they have, like, a big push they're waiting on, but I don't know. It feels a little strange to me, at least. Detaching 2 and going for the Wyvern and MST. Oh, this can just add anything back, right? In your opponent's graveyard. Yeah, so it can just shuffle anything. Okay, that's a little funny. And going and putting back the Gorilla and Tenki. And it looks like Kelper's just going to scoop it up there. Yeah, they really weren't seeing anything, unfortunately. You know, they had a good showing that first game and stuff, and even in the second game, it wasn't like the worst. But yeah, not the greatest hand here. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it, comment any questions or videos you want to see in the future, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified anytime I put a new video out, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to go down to the video description to find out how to send in your hat format replays. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.